Hey, what up, everybody? It's Christian out here from the Electronica Life, and we're actually here today to interview one of the DJs that's playing at the Electronica Life and Global Dance Thank You Party. We're here today with Nic Alvarado. This is Nick right here. Wave again one more time. And we're actually here too with George from Global. And here we are as well with Miles. Miles, yes. Okay. So, anyways, Nick, thank you for being on this interview and taking your time out of your busy day and whatnot. Um, we got a couple questions for you. Let's basically start off with well, obviously your name's Nic Alvarado, but did you ever have any past DJ names? Um, and then also, what do you play now? And then what if you did have a different alias before? Kind of give us the history of like what you played and what you play now.
You want me to start from day one?
Yeah, start from day one.
Please.
All right. I started playing in 7th grade. I would go to backyard parties and I would take a bag of tapes, cassette tapes. And I didn't have any system. I just knew that I liked playing music for people. So I would take a bag of tapes and I would cue them with the Walkman. God, everything sounds so old now. Walkman tapes.
Sure have to come up from a Walkman since then.
Like new iPhones coming out already.
So I would have a dual cassette tape player. I would cue the tapes on the Walkman, and then I would go back and forth on the dual cassette recorder. So there was no mixing or nothing, but I just loved playing music for people, and know that you can change the mood of a party, and it was just fun. It's just something I've always liked doing ever since I was a kid. And then I got one turntable, and it just kind of took off from there. And then I got another turntable, and we started doing parties. I was introduced, when I first started playing, I was big into hip-hop. This is before I was introduced to house music. So I would play a lot of the hip-hop at the time, Public Enemy, Two Life Crew, Gangstar, who else? Special Ed, X-Clan. This was back in 91 and 92. And I was living in Bakersfield at the time. And I would travel to LA to come work with my brother. And that's when I met the two guys that introduced me to house music, which was Steve Saldez, rest in peace, Steve, and his brother Greg. So I would come to visit. They introduced me to the world of techno and house. So I started listening to techno first. I tried taking it back to Bakersfield. It worked and it didn't work because it's a small town up there. So it wasn't big like it was here in LA. And at the time, speaking of DJ names, when I first started playing, God, I went through so many names. I think when I first started playing, I think my name was DJ Milkman. The reason was my friend I was playing with at the time, he came up to me and told me, he goes, "Yeah, I got my DJ name now." And what was him? I think he was the postman because he delivered. So I said, "All right, I'll be the milkman. So I did one party with that name, and I was in high school. I was all pumped up about techno, and I was pissed because everybody up in Bakersfield at the time, still really, they didn't like anything new. It was a small town, so they had a small town mentality. So I would show up to these house parties and I would play techno, and people used to get mad. So one time I got in the mic, and I was all, I was cussing out the crowd. Fuck hip hop, it's all about techno. And at the end of the night, there was a group of guys in the front waiting for me. We're gonna kick your ass, man. Damn. That was the first and last party that I did with that name. So I had to change the name. And someone called and asked me to play at my first club gig, which was a really big club up there. It wasn't hard to play up there. It wasn't much competition, especially for house. And I didn't have a name, a DJ name. So I was like, what the hell? This guy's calling me for a big club. I need a name. So I had a bunch of flyers from LA up on my wall. And there was a crew, remember the party crews? There was a crew called Psychosis.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at the flyer. I said, "Okay, my name's Psychosis," and that name stuck. So I was playing deep soulful house, and my name was Psychosis. So that was all through high school. When I graduated, I had pretty much played it everywhere you could play in Bakersfield. I was even on a radio show up there by the time I was a senior. So there wasn't really much more I can do. And the house scene up there was small, but it was still there, but it was small. It wasn't anything like it was here in LA. So as soon as I graduated, I moved back down here to Los Angeles. And I started passing out tapes. And when I moved down here, I thought to myself, I can't keep that name, Psychosis, because it's a horrible name for a house DJ. And I was still playing, disco, funky house. So my best friend David, his nickname, his dad used to call me Knick Knack. So when I started playing here, I went as Knick Knacks. And I played in the rave scene from about 97 to about 2005. And that was fun. I had it was booked every weekend. Some weekends, some nights double booked. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It was a lot of fun during those years.
Yeah, because I remember going to the Masterdome and always seeing your name on a flyer, dude. So
yeah,
yep.
That was fun. And then my taste in house changed and matured. I was playing back then like a lot of real upbeat disco house with a lot of filter, a lot of build up. I was playing for a rave crowd, so I couldn't go in there and play real deep.
Like Bad Boy Bill type stuff, right?
Division type shit.
Let me see. Back then, one of my favorite producers was Robbie Rivera.
Right.
He produces a lot different now. Now
Right.
it's more electro, but back then it was more disco filter sound. Was the
Right.
sound.
Yeah.
Not more. The Bad Boy Bill was more Chicago. More of like banging DJ Irene. I wasn't playing that sound.
Yeah, hard house kind of, right?
Hard house.
No, yeah, that's what Bad Boy Bill was playing. I have some mixes online somewhere, I think, from the sound I was playing back then. And then, my sound matured, so I wasn't getting booked in the rave scene as much because I was, playing from my heart. I wasn't playing to cater to a specific crowd. So as my sound matured, I stopped getting booked at the raves and I started playing in the underground house scene. To make that transition is tough. There's a very few DJs that have done it, to play in the rave scene a lot and then start playing in the house scene. So it took a few years, and then I just started using my real name, which was Nic Alvarado.
There it is.
Nice.
Was that long? Was that too long?
No, that's good, man. Hey, the history is what I think a lot of people miss out on, and it's good for all of us just to kind of say like where we came from, because then a lot of people get to know who you are. It's like I never knew all that stuff about you. It's pretty funny about you were the milkman or whatever it
Milkman.
was.
Yeah, I was the milkman for about a week.
So that weekend gig was just done, huh?
Huh?
Like until that weekend gig was just done, it was like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I got on the mic talking shit to everybody.
I think George has a question for you, basically off of what we already asked.
Yeah. What's going on, Nick? I'm George.
What's up, man?
Okay, one question. Well, I have a couple, but first one. What was that one song that got you into electronic music, that got you into house? That one specific song. That made you say, damn, I want to get into, house.
That's a good question. Well, I first was exposed to techno.
Okay.
And then later on, I started listening to house. Do you know what I know the song. When you asked that question, the song came to mind. I'm embarrassed to say it because of the name. I'm going to say it. The name of the song was called Dildo. It was a techno song back in 90. God, this is probably going to come bite me in the ass later on, but it's the truth. Back in, 94, 95? It was back when Power 106 was playing techno on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Playing the
Powerhouse
Street song, huh?
Back in the Powerhouse days?
Yeah. And I remember hearing that song, and I was like, wow, this is a bad jam. There was a bunch of songs that, remind me of that era, like tracks by Too Bad Mice, but for that reason, that song came to mind, probably because of the name. The name's funny, but the whole song, that's all they said was dildo, 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 dildo. It was a huge hit, too.
That's hilarious.
Maybe you can edit that out and put another name.
Nah, man.
We'll think about that one.
Yeah,
All right, cool. I have another question.
Uh-huh.
How do you feel about the house scene / electronic music scene right now in 2011?
I think it's great, man. It's really, really taken off. I remember when I first got into the scene, you wanted to hear house. It wasn't just one club, but usually there was just, one or two events that night.
Okay.
And house was house. You went and you heard a whole big spectrum of house. And then as it grew, it started to separate. Then you had like the after hours scene, and then you had the deep soulful house scene, and then you had the whole, party crew scene, with the Rebels and the Chicago house sound.
Yeah.
And now, on the weekend, man, who knows how many, especially here in LA, how many different events you can go to hear different sounds. But the genre has really, really grown and taken off, and I think it's a huge plus for us that are in it. It's a huge plus for those of us who are in the industry, making money at it, with what I do within Soul We Trust and DJing and everything, because it takes a more progressive, more energetic sound to bring in that young crowd. Electro, progressive, that's real good to bring in that young crowd.
I agree.
But as they mature and their tastes mature in music, they're going to want to hear something a little deeper, a little more soulful. So it'll just keep what I'm doing, the clubs I'm playing at, it'll just keep more people there in the future. So I think it's doing really, really good right now.
It's cool.
Yeah, I agree, because I remember going back to the Dyna Group parties back in the day, and I can't remember the exact first one I went to, but that was when like they were booking Diz a lot, and I just remember when I went like to the first one, it was just like really like all like that, the quote unquote house heads, you know what I mean, like the style of the clothes, like the dancing, like just that cool type of shit. And then I stopped going for a long time. I mean, I was going to like all the parties for like 2-3 years straight. And then I stopped going for a while just because of work and whatnot. And then I went to one of the Dyna Groove events, and I came back, years later, and man, it changed. It was like there was like younger, it was the kids, quote unquote, that were coming from the raves, just like you're talking about.
Yeah.
With glow sticks and everything. And although the party, or kind of like the people at the Dyna Groove parties changed, and I can't speak for every other party, but at the Dyna Groove specifically, the music was still the same, and that's actually what was really impressive to me, because I was afraid that it was going to get catered to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The underground ain't going anywhere. It's the music. As long as the music stays the same, there's always going to be somewhere, especially here in LA, somewhere you can go where you want to hear your sound.
Underground will live on forever, no matter what.
Yeah, it will. Of course. It's been here since the 70s. House is just an extension of disco, really.
Yeah.
So it's been for a long time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
I know my roots.
And we kind of basically answered a lot of these questions that we were going to ask you. Let's go with because we were going to talk about the term house, what it is now compared to back then. We kind of just went over that, and we kind of went over what the EDM community is now compared to what it was back then too. So I guess, where do you think the EDM community as a whole, where do you think it's going to go in the next 5 years? I mean, you've obviously been in the community for a long time, and you've seen a lot of changes. So where do you kind of touched on it a little about how, people maturing into different types of music within electronic dance music, but I don't know, why don't you maybe elaborate on what you might think is going to happen in the next 5 years?
I think it's going to continue to grow. I mean, every year you hear the big events getting more and more people. I think dance music really, It's a good question. I think dance music really speaks to a certain part of us that a lot of other genres can't touch, like hip hop and other music out there. It's just dance music really is like a release, you know, like it's like just a lot of us, it's like a religion, like a church. You know, you go to a good event afterwards, you feel
Fresh.
you feel refreshed. Yeah,
Yeah.
you feel cleansed. You feel free. You feel lighter. So I think it will continue to grow, and I think technology is playing a huge part in it right now because it's so much easier to start DJing than it was when I started. When I started, you needed 1,500 to 2,000. You know, you needed to buy techniques and the records, but now uh, almost anybody can become a DJ with a couple $100 or just a piece of software if you have a computer already. So I think in the next 5 years, DJs are going to have to really step it up. It's not just going to be, you know, mixing anymore. You're going to have to actually do something different in order to stand out.
More live performing.
Yeah, it's going to be more live performance. You hear a lot of the old school DJs complain, oh, well, you don't have to learn the beat match anymore. And
yeah, you got Serato and everything else.
to me, that's just them patting themselves in the back saying, when I was learning, it was a lot harder to play out. But a lot of these DJs who complain aren't booked as much as the young guys, so of course they're going to be, you know, a little bitter.
Right.
But technology is also going to make it easier for us to be even more creative, you know, with what we do. Back when I was playing, you had 2 turntables and that was it. Now I'm using a controller, so now if I want, I have my whole library with me. So if I want to play, you know, an old Rick James song over a house track or sample it, I can.
Right.
You know, so it allows you to be more creative. So I think DJs are really, really going to have to step it up. Not everybody, you know, some of the genres don't really need for you to be creative. You just have to have a good taste in music.
Track selection, yeah.
A good track, there you go. A good track selection, but I think some of the other genres you're going to have to really, really step it up to stand out in the future.
Yeah, and I also think too, on that technology tip, is that because it's allowing so many people to become, you know, even producers and DJs, it's, you know, those people are getting so hyped about it, you know, these kids nowadays, that, you know, they're showing their friends, oh, look what I can do. So now it's not just that one person, they're exposing their stuff, you know, the EDM music to all their friends and family and all. I mean, honestly, like my dad listens to like basically all the shit that I play or all the shit that I have, or turn on XM satellite, we're like bumping Sirius, you know, all the time. You know, it's like there's a bunch of people's parents who are into that, you know, stuff, and my little nephew who's 4 years old was like walking around bobbing his head to like, you know, some kind of EDM song that he hears. So the exposure is just, I think it's really going out there on a very massive scale, really fast.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Okay, so what has been the biggest show you have played, meaning either like the brand name of like the promoter or like the club name? So to clear it up, not number of people who've been there. That's the next question.
It was back in the rave days, and it wasn't, well, the names that come to mind were the parties that my close friends did. Heart and Soul was one Dane Styles did. Those were always packed. Most of the events that I played at the Masterdome and the Fox Theater, those were always really, really big. I think I did 1 or 2 at the Orange Show. I don't even know if it's called the Orange Show now. I think they changed the name, but those are some of the bigger parties that I did back in the day. I didn't really get booked at any of the massives, so the biggest ones I did were usually at the Masterdome. Yeah, and as far as numbers, I think I always closed. I always closed. So my set time was always 5 to 6.
when they used to go 5 to 6.
Yeah, every single weekend I played from 5 to 6 because my sound really fit into that time slot. And the people, number wise, there was probably some of the bigger ones were between 1,000, 1,500 people that would be at the Masterdome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember seeing you there. I mean, maybe I did, but I didn't realize, it was you. I just remember, honestly, I just remember seeing your name on the flyer and be like, man, this guy's name's always on this damn flyer.
If you heard a set with James Brown or Prince or Michael Jackson or Janet Jackson thrown in the mix, that was me. That's what I was known for back when I was playing as Nic Nax.
Yeah, good shit, man. Good shit. Um, let's see.
I have a question.
Well, go ahead, George.
Back in the day, who were the big promoters that do the parties that were cracking? Insomniac right now.
Yeah, dude, the same ones that are doing it now. Insomniac, Go Ventures, Reza. They were the big boys back then, and they're still the big dogs. Those guys, I gotta give it up to them, man. Because B3 Candy.
Yeah, B3.
Yeah, it's not easy to throw a big event like that, and they run it, like a business, and they just continuously stepped up the game and just added more and more and more to their events. I mean, their events are. I haven't been to one in a really long time, but they put on really quality events. So yeah, them guys right there, they're still in the game too. That's not easy. Yeah, I give it up to them.
Nice.
Miles, well, you got a question, buddy? You're looking eager to say something.
Scared of what?
No, I was just waiting for you guys because I'm sure you guys had questions to ask, so I was just waiting for my turn. Nick, I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
What's in your collection today?
You mean what I play out or what I listen to?
What do you play out today?
When I play out, it's house, man. It's house, but it varies. It could be real deep, well, I shouldn't say real deep because I never play, unless I'm opening, then I'll play deep, but usually it's just real upbeat, real soulful, real funky, real jazzy. Sometimes there's some disco in there, sometimes there's some Latin flavor in there, but that's usually the sound I stick to when I play out.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's basically kind of one of the questions that we were going to ask. So let me get into, are you excited to play at the House of Blues?
Yes. My first time playing there. My first time going to the one in Anaheim, right?
Correct.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, I'm excited to play there. That's going to be an exciting night.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, we've played there before as the Storyteller's Music, but I don't think there's been any real house music shows there. I believe there's been a couple dubstep shows there, but no other genres than that. So
The first throw an EDM event there.
yeah, it's basically the night will basically kind of be multi-genre anyways, as far as and I'm not saying there's gonna be like dubstep there because there's not, but like we play house, incorporate dubstep and other types of music. You're more on the funky, jazzy, soulful type of side, and then we have Cabal, who's done productions for Cascade and remixes and all that kind of stuff. And then we have Charlie, who's going to open, who's more on the deeper tech progressive side of things. So it's going to be a fun night. And that kind of leads me to the other question. Have you ever, I know you haven't played with us at the same party and neither Charlie, but have you ever played alongside Kamal, or do you know Kamal personally or anything?
I remember hearing him at Balance when he was the resident for Sue.
That's right. Forgot about that.
Years. I remember hearing him open. And then last time I seen him, we were doing the live broadcasts for Deep. And I think he was there twice. So, but DJing along with him the same night, no. This would be my first time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, what kind of tracks, Miles kind of already led into this, but what kind of tracks do you think you'll be playing for the night? A little preview, what can people expect?
I thought about that, and I have no clue.
They're gonna have some time to make that mix, huh?
It depends. When I get there, I'll know. Who's there, who's playing before me, what the vibe is like, what kind of crowd's there, what they're feeling. I'll know then. Yeah, I have no clue what I'm gonna play.
Gotcha.
Soul though, I know that it'll have some soul. So.
And let's give you a shout out. Where can we get, or where can people get more info on you and your music? So this is time to shout out your Facebook, website, etc.
My Facebook is. Let me look. It's facebook.com/In Soul We Trust. My Twitter is twitter.com/House Music Radio. My website, which is a horrible website. I haven't updated it in years, but it's djnicalvarado.com. And I think it's NIC, so there's no K. Yeah, so it's djnicalvarado.com. And then the website that I run, my online house music radio station, is insoulwetrust.com. And you can find, let me look at the URL right now. You can find all my updated mixes there under, let's see here, it's insoulwetrust.com/house_music_mix. And I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I got about 4 of my newest mixes up there right now.
Sweet. So everybody, make sure you go cop a download from Nic's site of some of his latest stuff. And also, Nic, why don't you give a plug for what your site's about and what people can do there?
In Soul We Trust. That's going to take a while. No, the site does so much. The site is a online radio station, and it broadcasts house music 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we allow DJs to purchase a time slot and have their own radio show. The difference with us and having your own show, let's say on Ustream, is we promote the show for you. So we already have the traffic coming in. The website gets 30,000 page views a month. We have listeners from over, I think last I counted was 180 different countries. So people from all over the world tune in. And it's a good platform to go and for a house music DJ to go and sign up and start building his fan base and start networking with everybody. So that's what it is.
There we go.
What else do we do? We have a DJ competition, a monthly DJ competition, so house music DJs can go and enter their mix. We have a whole bunch of videos, really exclusive videos from a lot of the DJs who have played here in LA. That when we used to do the live house music TV broadcasts, we used to record them. So we have a whole bunch of videos you can go and see on the site too.
Yep, and to be honest, guys, that's how I actually kind of started checking out Nic and all his stuff, was because of that show, and one particular show that you did with Mark Farina. So, and actually, Nic, it was funny, side story here. When you were checking the chat stream, I was like typing in like, shout out the storytellers. So you did it, and you're probably reading like, who the hell is this? Blah, whatever, shout out, blah blah blah.
The venue we were at?
It was the Farina show. I think it was at the Echoplex, whatever it's called.
Oh, wow, that was
like years ago.
That was like 3 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah, that was our first broadcast, was Mark Farina from Echo.
There we go. And yeah, I have it. I actually have the recording. Someone recorded it somewhere.
Oh, wow, that's crazy. What a trip. I don't even have that recording. He didn't allow us to record.
Small world. Yeah, hey, I could send it to you.
Yeah, just don't put it online, because then they...
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah, send it to me, though. I'd love to hear it.
No
Is
doubt.
my voice all over it, too?
Yes.
Like yelling? Was I yelling at everybody?
No, and it was just whenever you got on the mic to do shout outs and some updates.
Those were fun, man, when we first started doing those. When we first started, it was Echo, and then we added Balance on Saturday, and then we added Deep on Sunday. It was a lot of work, because you're there from the beginning of the night to the end of the night.
Yep.
But I had a lot of fun doing those live broadcasts.
Yep.
Yeah, it was fun.
Good shit, man. And thank you for bringing that to the community, because a lot of people that wanted to go out those certain nights or wanted to see a certain DJ from maybe even a different city were now allowed to through your dedication, your work. So I want to thank you. I'm pretty sure a lot of other people want to thank you for putting in that hard work as well.
Thank you. Well, we did it for you guys, and if it was no one tuning in, then it wasn't worth it. So thanks for tuning in.
You're welcome. Is anybody else have any other questions? George, Miles?
You have an iPod, right, David?
Huh? What?
You have an iPod, right?
A what? iPod?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the most recent song you put in it lately?
The songs that I have on there, when I'm not listening to house, I listen to a lot of blues, a lot of R&B, Anthony Hamilton, Erykah Badu, D'Angelo.
You got a nice R&B soulful taste.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of soul. I listen to a lot of like Etta James, Ray Charles, a lot of older soul too, like from the 60s and 70s.
Right.
So there is a huge mix, but it's always something soulful though. Disco from the Paradise Garage. What else is on there? A lot of R&B, a lot of neo soul. You know, like D'Angelo and Erykah Badu, they're considered neo soul. So I love that sound. Yeah.
That's
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, thank you, Nick, for being on the line with us today. Really appreciate you being here and doing this interview for us. And we actually are really happy that you're joining us for our party on the 22nd at the House of Blues, which is our thank you party. So thanks again, and we look forward to seeing you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I love doing interviews. I can do this all night.
Well, when we come up with 50 more questions, we'll come back.
Let me know. I love answering questions.
All right,
Thanks
guys.
for having me, guys.
Cool. Thank you. All right, we'll be chatting soon, buddy.
All right, later.
Peace out, man.